I have a recurrent dream. In that dream, I'm seized with the strong feeling of fear that I've forgotten something important, but I don't know what it is, and wake up in a cold sweat. It happens ever so often that I decided to Google the meaning of this dream, and apparently it's common amongst performers, actors, and people who sing in the musicals and stuff. Basically, those people whose work involves reciting by heart on stage, and that makes sense. I'm a pianist and I perform without the score. If you're also a pianist watching this video, do you also get a recurrent dream of memory loss? Hello everyone, I'm Mami at NEWTips piano series. It makes me wonder how much of this fear of forgetting is ingrained in our pianist psyche, so much so that it has to manifest itself nightly in our dreams. This video is a kind of continuation of the memorization clip that I made earlier. The other video was about how to go about memorizing a piece in the first place in your practice room, but this one is about once you've memorized a piece, how do you keep your memory resilient under pressure? Because being able to play from memory in the safety of your own practice room is one thing, but doing it in public is quite another. Playing the piano involves playing from memory. No other instrumentalists are faced with this level of pressure of memorizing as we do, and our memory is affected by nerves and worrying about not living up to the expectations of an audience. Every pianist knows this feeling of the cold realization on stage when things have gone wrong, and you feel you would rather be having a nice hot bath right now instead of playing. How often does it happen to you that as soon as you start playing in front of people, it starts crumbling? The passage you thought you knew so well. So this video is more general tips about how to prepare for performance without the score and how to keep your memory reliable under pressure, and I want to present some of my coping strategies. I want to start by considering the potential benefits of performing from memory, because some of you may ask, do you really have to do this if it's one thing that causes enormous anxiety, stage fright, and sometimes even trauma and nightmares? Why do we insist on performing without the score? And I came up with 5 reasons, 5 benefits of performing without the music. Number 1, because it is the tradition and for your own ego. Some of the audience might think you're amazing to remember all those notes. Number 2, it is supposed to sound better without the music stand blocking the sound. Number 3, better presentation. It looks cool. Number 4, for the challenge, there is something heroic about risking oneself without an escape route, provided it goes well. Number 5, no interruption from a page turner. And that is the biggest reason for me. I don't want to put my fate into the hands of the page turner. If you cannot quite see the effect a page turner can have on your mental and physical well-being, watch the film called The Page Turner. I won't spoil it in case you haven't watched it. How to Take Revenge on a Pianist. It is brilliant. If you are holding a grudge against a pianist, this is a must watch. I think we all have 1 or 2 horror stories involving page turners, or from the page turner's point of view, it is a job requiring a high level of skill, yet it is nerve-wracking, thankless, sometimes even physically painful task. A lovely friend of mine turned over for an international concert pianist, and he couldn't see very well and he stood up to turn at the wrong place. The pianist flew his hand across to prevent him from turning the page, and the poor friend of mine was knocked on the floor on stage during a live performance. It is safe to say there are advantages in performing from memory. So here are my top 4 tips for preparing for a performance from memory, and I'm going to count down from ranking number 4 down to number 1, and at the end of this video I will present an action plan you can start implementing from today for more secure and reliable memory, so stay tuned. Ranking number 4, always jump forward. I used to learn accompaniment from John Blakely at the RCM, and I used to play solo pieces to him as well. John Blakely is one of the best people you can ever meet, a wonderful musician. Anyway, this is what he told me when we discussed memory in one of the lessons. He said, if anything happens in a concert, always jump forward, never back. Never revisit scenes of the crime. He also insisted on having what he called the halo points in a piece. We touched upon this in the previous video, but John stressed the importance of having pre-planned starting points scattered throughout the piece, and you must be able to start the journey from any of these points, and should a disaster happen in a performance, you simply jump to your next halo point. And most importantly, always jump forward and never back. Otherwise, you may never finish the piece. Number 3, turn off phone notifications. This might sound slightly off topic, but apparently the brain can have only 3 things on board at any given time, and you cannot memorize effectively if you are worried about what to eat for lunch, replying to the email, or thinking about the number of dislikes you got on YouTube. When I'm preparing for a big concert, I've found that turning off the phone and forgetting about it for several days helps enormously. You suddenly have a lot more time, or turn off Wi-Fi and nothing is ever going to come into your phone. You might miss important emails, but you can get the piece memorized. Even if you can play the piece perfectly well in your practice room, it can still go wrong at the crucial moment on stage when one is tested, under stress, and when it matters. That's why I suggest artificially creating challenging situations when you rehearse. You can try playing through your program first thing in the morning as you get up, when you're hungry, or when you want to go to the loo, or get Alexa to tell jokes while you play through.
Never ask a pianist their opinion on a sensitive topic. They see everything as black and white.
Simulating the difficulties or distractions you may encounter in a performance situation. You could get awkward lighting with strong shadows cast over the keys, too low or too high piano stool, rehearsing on different pianos, continuing with the piece with crying babies, mobile phones going off. These things happen in concerts, or some people unwrap sweet wrappers in concerts. You know how they do it really slowly, thinking they're being very considerate. I once asked 5-year-old twins to sit in my practice session, asked them to sit through a whole concerto to make sure I can still maintain focus while they moved about in the same room. That's what I call the adversity training. Just do anything to make yourself uncomfortable and ensure you are still able to play. But nothing can prepare for a public performance than the concert itself. I organize mini concerts at home and ask my friends and students to be there. Playing to your students is the worst, and I get so nervous. And video record all your mini concerts, real concerts, and have the courage to watch it and give yourself feedback. Number 1, think it exists in its perfect form. You have learned the piece thoroughly and memorized, you've gone through all the adversity training you can think of, and the moment of truth comes. It's on the day of the concert. My teacher Bernard Roberts had this philosophical saying, when performing from memory, imagine the piece exists in its perfect form behind you. You have done all your work and you're on stage, it is too late. There's not much you can do but trust and let go. In the previous video, I mentioned the importance of engaging emotion when learning a piece, but on stage it tends to be received well for some reason when I'm slightly detached. It's not me who is doing it, but it is as though you are a puppeteer who is controlling from the outside. I'm now going to quickly recap what we talked about today with an action plan. We talked about how to prepare for a performance when playing from memory is expected, how to keep your memory resilient under pressure. I suggested having different halo points or starting points pre-planned and make sure you can start playing from any of these points. And we talked about the value of creating an environment to focus on your practice, that conscious effort makes all the difference and engages the mind in a totally different way. And then we talked about adversity training, playing in less than perfect conditions create resilience, organizing informal concerts, invite your friends and students. Having done all your work and gone through all adversity training, then on the day of the concert you need to trust that the piece exists in its perfect form and let it channel through you, and always jump forward and never back. Thank you very much for watching. In the last 2 videos I've tried to explain the process of my way of memorizing as comprehensively as I can, and I hope you will also watch the other video on the practical ways of memorizing. If you have found this video interesting or helpful, please spread words to your friends and share on social media. And please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss my next videos. If you have any questions, please comment below, or you might have other tips about memorization that I missed. When I get comments, I'm really happy. Thank you and see you next time.